This episode of In the Channel is brought to you by HPE Discover 2026, and we'll be bringing you full event coverage all week right here on channelbuzz.ca. Don't miss it. Hello, and welcome to In the Channel from channelbuzz.ca, bringing news and information to the Canadian IT channel community for the last 16 years. I'm Robert Dutt, editor of channelbuzz.ca, and your host for the show. Quick note before we dive into this one. If you haven't already listened to Tuesday's episode of The Buzz, really encourage you to go find that in your feed first. On The Buzz, we've got the headline rundown on HPE's Partner Growth Summit announcements there. What was announced, what moved, what the numbers are. What we're doing here is going a level deeper with the person who actually owns this for North America. Jeremy Jenson is the Vice President of North America Channel and Partner Ecosystem at HPE. He returned to the company about a year ago after a previous decade plus that included the Aruba acquisition, a stint at AWS in between, and enough perspective on how the IT channel actually works to fill several episodes on their own. This is part 2 of a conversation we recorded just ahead of Discover. Part 1, the Discover preview and the big AI infrastructure themes, is on the feed Monday if you want the full picture. This half is about the Partner Growth Summit announcements, what HPE is calling the power of one. One portfolio, one program, one partner experience, and specifically, what it means if you're a Canadian reseller or MSP trying to figure out where HPE fits into your business right now and into the second half of 2026. Let's get right into it. My chat with Jeremiah Jenson. Jeremiah, good to be chatting with you again.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Rob. Thanks.
Let's get into some of the stuff that was announced at Partner Growth Summit, and I guess let's start here. You've now had about 18 months since the single channel org stood up, and now you've got the Juniper integration happening on top of that. From your seat, what did that single organization feel like to execute on, and what's the one thing that turned out to be harder than expected?
One, it feels very good. So a little bit of my history, I was here when the Aruba acquisition happened some 10 years ago. And then I was with a different company for a period of time, and I've been back for about a year and a half now. And I will say it's been fantastic to unify the channel in a lot of ways, making it simple and more simple and easier and more profitable for partners to understand and to do business with, but also to take advantage of the power of the portfolio. What's it like? Simple answer, it's great because we have a tremendous amount of channel history and momentum and power from that piece of the business, combined with a tremendous amount of channel history, momentum, and power on the hybrid IT side, and bringing all that together in a unified way is fantastic. Now, the hardest part about that is you're dealing with big businesses and the devil being in the details. And that's where we just spend a lot of time working on, while the big themes are unification, ease of doing business, and simplifying things along those lines, the hard part is in the detail. Like how do we actually want to help accomplish this? And so from that, we've had to get a lot of very big voices in the room and get through some very meaningful things on behalf of our customers and our partner.
I guess to your point on your history and the long history of HPE in this acquisition space, at least to some degree, you've got the muscle memory of doing the Aruba side of things and getting that integrated into the programs, and now it's sort of doing that at a different timeline and a different scale with Juniper.
It's true. We have the muscle memory of acquisitions and some history of that. I think the one thing that is really just awesome to see is how people have come together with customer and partner being front and center, and how are we iterating and innovating on their behalf, and just a unified goal of how do we move really fast, because the opportunity in that market is too big for us to miss. And so there's really this motivation to move very, very fast and very quickly. And that's why we're ahead of our integration targets. We're very pleased with where we are in that business, unifying the channel, unifying a bunch of business processes. You're seeing that in the programmatic announcement we made. So it's nice to be able to take advantage of that muscle memory. We've done the training. Now we're doing it for real.
So the November 1 date is concrete, and the tier mapping for the Juniper roll into Partner Ready Vantage is clear. Elite Plus becomes Platinum, etc. But what about the Canadian partner today who's a Juniper partner, but it's never really sold HPE server or storage? What does that reality look like in practice? Is there sort of a runway and enablement in place to help bring those folks on board? And obviously, I assume you want as many of them transacting as far across the portfolio as possible, or what does it look like as the two truly become one?
Absolutely. So one, we want them participating across the full portfolio. One program gives partners a very clear unified path across networking, cloud, and AI. And this move that we've made, it's a major simplification that gives partners a more consistent way in which they can engage across those three, whether that's networking, cloud, or AI. And it also paints a very clear opportunity in terms of how they can take the broader portfolio to their customer to solve those business problems. I always want to keep that customer front and center, and that they have a unique opportunity to solve a broader set of customer challenges. And so the value there is that partners can work across more of the portfolio without navigating disconnected experiences. And I also want to say, we're not forcing anybody to become something that they're not. This is an opportunity for them, and we've made it simple for them to capture that opportunity and to grow their business with Hewlett Packard Enterprise.
It's always a balancing act, right? You want to incentivize, but you don't want to push too hard because that potentially breaks partner business models or creates challenges. But at the same time, it's like, we got all this stuff over here too. You want to sell it? That'd be cool.
Yeah, look, I'm not twisting anybody's arm here. I think the opportunity speaks for itself. And I think our results in the market also speaks for itself. The opportunity is there, and that opportunity stands on its own. Whether you want to invest in a AI practice or whether you have an opportunity to help customers solve a problem with compute, we have the right enablement and want to come alongside that partner and take advantage of that opportunity and help that customer. But that opportunity is real and right there for them now. And that opportunity stands on its own. The value of the opportunity, the capability of our products, how that's meeting the market with the customers, that speaks for itself. So the opportunity's there, and I want to harness it. I want to take advantage of it with our mutual partners.
We seem to be getting a little bit of a drumbeat going in terms of products being declared channel only in terms of go-to-market. Last year with VM Essentials, this year it's Zerto, PC3000, PC1000. There's clearly a strategic logic here beyond just adding products to the list. What's kind of the underlying principle on what makes a product a right candidate to be channel only? And what does it mean for a partner that these products will only come through them and their peers?
Well, there's a couple things there. Certainly, we're expanding areas where partners can lead, and that creates additional room for growth, both for them and for us. And it's a clear signal that HPE is expanding in areas where I said, like I said, where partners can lead, but especially in areas that are core to the market, whether that's private cloud or virtualization with this great VM reset that we've got going on, or whether that's data protection with some of our Zerto solutions and ransomware protection, things along those lines. So this gives partners a clear, gives them more ownership and opportunity, while also creating more room for them to differentiate. I don't want a homogenous channel. Each partner, not all partners have invested in the same ways. And so each partner has a level of capability, a market that they serve, and have made investments to serve their customers in the right way. And so this gives this partner-led opportunity with these products. It gives them not only ownership of the opportunity, but clear ways in which they can differentiate by investing in these product sets. So it's an area of channel leadership. And then finally, it also speaks to our channel heritage. We trust the channel. We partner with them very closely, and we see an opportunity for us to grow our collective business by allowing them to lead.
To your point on the non-homogeneous nature of the channel, I think that's represented well throughout throughout the program and what you guys are talking about in terms of being open to embracing, facilitating, however you want to phrase it, multi-partner engagements when the customer needs support of different specialists in different areas to drive those outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think this helps partners build higher value practices. I don't need them just to sell another product. We have lots of products that are available for sale, but this helps them see and build a higher value practice, whether that's the services capability that they can bring in, because we all know customers need help transforming to new ways and new efficient ways of doing business in a hybrid IT environment. So it creates more ways for partners to move up that value chain, whether that's through their services or deeper expertise that they want to build. And it matters because that creates long-term growth as they become more valuable to the customer through their differentiated capabilities, differentiated services, or to the value, that distinct and unique value that they bring to their customer. It creates long-term growth. It helps build something that outlasts not only them, but us.
Part of the announcements is you're giving up to 600 partners free access to Morpheus licenses to run their own environments. It's interesting. It really sounds like it's saying, sort of an opportunity to become your own reference customer, to drink your own champagne, to eat your own dog food, whatever your preferred analogies there. What's sort of the expectations around partners, around how partners use those capabilities? Is it about demos? Is it about building their own expertise? Is it about kind of getting a chance to do some of that transformation and reinvention of their own infrastructure and tech stack, so they can speak more clearly to what customers can do in the art of the possible?
Yeah, I mean, what is going on in the virtualization market is impacting everybody, the entire channel, and I don't mean just how various companies are going to market. It's impacting everybody, and that includes our partners, who are customers not only of they're customers of a lot of different companies. And there's real power in our portfolio. And we see a clear opportunity not only to invest in the channel with those partners who have invested in us, those partners who have invested in the virtualization competency. We want to invest back in them with the capability that our portfolio brings to them. So these VME licenses offers them an opportunity to reset their virtualization environment and set themselves up for continued modernization. And what better story to take to their customer than, we know this works for you because we did it ourselves. So drinking their own champagne is a very good analogy there. And that is our expectation, not only one, to help partners realize the true value of the portfolio, but also enable them to modernize and take that story to their customers. And there's no better way than to say that I've done it myself, and here was the outcomes that we saw.
Given the scale of the HPE channel, I'm guessing there are going to be a lot of hands going up for those 600 slots.
Well, look, I mean, what we see in VME, Morpheus, the Morpheus software suite is nothing short of impressive. I've got a history of working with and working for companies that move very fast, that make decisions fast, and execute very quickly. What I have seen in this Morpheus VME space is impressive. It's like nothing I've ever seen. The roadmap, our ability to execute against that roadmap to produce enterprise quality and just phenomenal products at pace and at scale is incredibly impressive. And so partners that are working with VME and Morpheus today continue to be blown away by the capability and the roadmap. And for those partners that haven't taken advantage of that, please take a moment for yourself and look at what we're doing here. It's a fantastic product, and it's a fantastic solution to help customers with what they need most. And that is cost savings while setting them on a path to modernization.
Especially in a moment where perhaps acquiring new tech is not going to be as easy as it has been.
Yeah,
from a hardware point of view.
Exactly. In a moment where everybody's looking for ways to save dollars, you can cut virtualization costs by up to 90% with this product. It's a very simple per socket pricing. And so what better opportunity not only to help our partners, but help get that message out to their customers.
In terms of channel penetrations, a fairly mature realized market, or is there still a lot of greenfield out there on the channel side?
I mean, there's a massive opportunity. You think about the size of that virtualization market, the size of the VM reset, the virtualization machine market, that virtualized machine market, it's huge. So there is a tremendous amount of headroom in this market. There is a tremendous amount of opportunity for all of us, and we have to turn that opportunity into reality, and that's happening now.
Right. Moving on to partner branded services. This is one that really caught my interest. I think is going to catch the interest of a lot of folks, especially who are in the MSP kind of mode. Can you walk me through what it actually looks like for a Canadian MSP? You know, they're putting their name on a support offering. HPE is the invisible backbone. What does it look like in terms of customer call, billing, and you know, what does HPE get out of participating in this model where it's the partner and not HPE that's kind of the primary brand?
First of all, a clear thing with partners is they have a level of customer understanding, or I often say they have a level of customer intimacy that I could never replace and don't intend to. So this partner branded services really helps us service the customer faster with a very valuable piece of that equation, and that's the partner. So allowing a partner to take, you know, first call support, first call services, and to be able to capitalize on that customer knowledge and that depth of history and customer intimacy that they have, what we have found is that just produces a better customer outcome. So E+ in North America is one of those first partners that has taken advantage of this, and we're really just enthused and excited about how this is coming through at the customer level. That's the piece that I want to put front and center, is that customers have a need for a faster answer, a faster path to resolution, and partners are part of that. And so this acceleration of this program is really helping. From a Canadian standpoint, look, who knows more about the Canadian market than a Canadian partner and that Canadian customer and what their requirements are. I often say, you know, Canadians have forgotten more about Canada than I'll ever know, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for that. So the opportunity to deploy that knowledge front and center with a customer, no better opportunity.
And it plays especially important, I think, in a market like Canada where there are so many. I mean, in any large market, there are differences regionally, but there are real differences regionally.
Yeah, I mean, let's not pretend that the United States and Canada are identical, because they're not. There are nuances, there are real and meaningful differences in whether that's compliance or whether that's nuance. Those differences are real at the customer level, and so the opportunity for partners to service customers with that level of knowledge of all the detail, whether that's compliance or nuance, that speaks to the power of the channel. And it's phenomenal to see this announcement come to life and see partners taking advantage of it. So,
how quickly do you anticipate it kind of expanding to a broader number of potential service provider partners who are in that partner branded services mode with you guys?
I think it really is incumbent upon us to be very deliberate about what we build with our partners. I think in the past, you know, sometimes partners get very focused on what can I sell today? And I think the opportunity with partner branded services is how can we build something that outlasts all of us? How can we build a foundation of services? Because once you have that services capability, and once you are effectively taking that first call, and you are not only the provider, but you are the solution, you know, you are the solution for when things need to be fixed, that stickiness becomes very real. So we have to really think about, what do we want to build? What are the services capability that we're building together? And from that will create the pace at which we grow. But there are very large partners, very sizable MSPs, as well as what I would call MSPs who have very specialized capability that want to take advantage of this capability.
Moving on to storage, you've got the 50% front end takeout rebate on top of existing rebates for competitive storage displacement. That's a notable number. How should a Canadian reseller read that? I've heard that it runs at least through calendar year, but is this a relatively, you know, period-based incentive, or is it sort of a signal that HP is ready to play offense on storage on the long haul?
It's the latter. We are very we are on the front foot when it comes to our storage portfolio. The product is fantastic. It is in the storage portfolio specifically is in a place that I've never seen it before in decades of history. And that's phenomenal. And the results that we have seen over the past several quarters, it has been several quarters of really good growth and several quarters of great success here in North America. And now is the time to pour gasoline on that fire. So this is a signal of not only our existing success, but how can we be even more on the front foot and take that to our partners who want to lean in with us. So now is the time to lean in with storage and our hybrid cloud offerings and really accelerate how we go acquire new customers and how we go grow that base for the future. So there's a phenomenal opportunity with our product, but there's a bigger opportunity in what customers are demanding, and we have the right product for it.
So November 1, one experience. It's a big promise. We've got one portal, one deal reg system, one development fund. There's a lot in there. For a partner who's been managing different login credentials, different MDF processes, what's actually noticeably different on November 2 in terms of their relationship and running their business with HPE?
Yeah, I mean, we are on a constant, I say this a lot, because it's real. I spend an inordinate amount of my time thinking about how do we simplify, how do we make ourselves easier to do business with? And so one experience is really about making it easier for partners to engage, to move faster, and to grow at an accelerated rate. And it matters because partners want, everybody wants speed, but speed comes from also consistency and just getting rid of some of the administrative overhead that is in place. So this is all about reducing friction in places where partners feel it the most, right? I got to log out of this website, log into another one. So common tools, common onboarding processes, contracting, deal flow, deal registration, things along those lines. So this is really all about making easier for partners to engage and easier for us to do business together. It pains me and it keeps me awake at night, right? If they've got to log into, multiple websites, it's just time. It's time. It's impacting the time in which we can get to customers and service customers. So that's what they should expect is a common set of tools, common set of contracting, common deal flow, and easier to engage and moving faster with HPE.
We've heard that this is going to be AI enabled in terms of the partner portal, I assume the partner tools and experiences. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means today, as well as what you guys, without giving away too much of the secret sauce for the future, what are you guys thinking about in terms of what AI-ifying the partner experience is going to look like for your partners in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, we're a leader in the AI market, and we have a long history of drinking our own champagne, as we talked about earlier. And so there's an opportunity to deploy some of our AI tools in some of our customer and partner facing, whether that's websites and things along those lines. And as an example, I don't have a very explicit example, in terms of, this specific process, but I will say one of the mental models that we have is sometimes you got to send an email to an email alias when it's a repetitive process and things along those lines. Agentic AI and the AI tools and infrastructure that we produce for customers every day can help solve those questions immediately. So how do we put some of our AI tools into that workflow and solve at pace and do things much, much faster? So we're not waiting on, someone to type up a response from some anonymous alias, things along those lines. And while that's a very basic example, you begin to think about other opportunities in terms of repetitive processes that drive partners crazy. How can we simplify and make things move faster? So examples like that is what partners should expect.
Yeah, I was going to say it may be a basic example. Maybe you can imagine how that multiplies over time and over opportunities and over deals when it's repeated again and again.
It's really about solving real problems. We can talk high and mighty and pie in the sky and AI this and AI that, but it's really about what, at the end of the day, some human sitting in front of a desk going, I got to email an alias. It's solving real world problems with technology and capability. And it's that real world approach to the business that we're taking.
On the distribution landscape, we heard recently you guys are TD SYNNEX and Ingram Micro as the two globals with local augmentation. Obviously, those two are very strong players in the Canadian market, but how does distribution look now in Canada, and how do you see it looking in terms of additional niche or boutique players to round out the strategy?
So distribution is a core part of how we go to market and is a core part of our overall channel strategy. The global announcement of Ingram and TD SYNNEX, of course, they're both headquartered here in North America, and we do a lot of business with them, and we're excited about the plans that we have together. Stay tuned. You'll see additional announcements in terms of how we think about that landscape and how we're accelerating with our other distribution partners. So more to come there in the very near term.
All right, a teaser. Love that. Last one for me. There's a lot in these announcements, and partners are going to be reading a lot of headlines, listening to a lot of stuff. Probably have already as they're listening to this. But what's kind of the one big thing that you would most want a Canadian partner, reseller, MSP, wherever they fit in the equation, to actually understand and act on from what HP is announcing at Partner Growth Summit?
I'll answer it this way. Just who I am as a person, just my personal hobby. I love long distance trail running. I'm an ultra marathoner. And I always think about, can I run one more mile? And I'm not saying that everybody should go out there and sign up for a 50-mile or 100-mile race, but I do think about, can I run one more mile? And so to bring that back to what is my ask of whether you're an MSP or partner or something along those lines is, with a portfolio of our size, what's one more thing that you can take to your customer? Is that data center networking? Is that moving from Juniper into the wireless space with some of our, Aruba products? Is that compute? Is that, I've sold storage, but now I want to talk about data protection with Zerto. Can I do one more? And so as we think about Discover and the announcements we've made this week and the momentum we have with our portfolio, that's what I want to ask. Can you do one more? What is that one more thing that we might be able to do together that will help you grow your business, that will help your customer solve another business problem, and that will help us accomplish our mutual goals?
All right. I think that's a reasonable ask. Appreciate you taking the time once again. Thanks for walking us through some of the details of what was announced at Partner Growth Summit, and have a great rest of the week.
Always good to talk to you, Rob. Thanks.
There you have it. Jeremiah Jenson, Vice President of North American Channel and Partner Ecosystem at HPE. I'd like to thank Jeremiah for his time and for a pretty candid look at how HPE is thinking about the partner community as these organizations, HPE and Juniper, settled into one. Thank you for listening. There's a lot to process in these announcements, but the thing I keep coming back to is the frame that Jeremiah closed with, the one more mile idea. He's an ultramarathoner, and the ask he's making of the Canadian channel isn't to boil the ocean. It's to ask yourself, is there one more HPE product that belongs in front of your customers? Data center networking if you're already doing compute. Zerto if you're already doing virtualization. Partner branded services if you're an MSP looking to own more of the customer relationship. One more mile, compounded across a partner base, is how the power of one actually becomes real. We're going to have a lot more from HPE Discover through the rest of the week, including an on-site recap coming later, so keep an eye on your feed. You'll find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, most of the major podcast directories, and if you're finding the show useful, a rating and review genuinely helps other people in the Canadian channel find us. Till next time, I'm Robert Dutt for channelbuzz.ca, and I'll see you in the channel.